Um, First of all, when you met your partner, how was he? Was he already HIV positive? Was he fit? Was he well?
Yeah, David was absolutely fine. He was on medication. The virus was under control, and we used to go to the gym together, do everything, eat healthily, look after ourselves, and he was totally fine. And then it just all changed within like 3 weeks.
Just ask you about being fine, living with HIV. Is there a complacency about HIV, do you think, within the community?
Personally, I think living with HIV, it's harder, the stigma is harder to live with than the physical things, because treatments are quite good, but for a small number of people like David, the treatment's just too late and not enough.
Now, you obviously said it came on very quickly. What was the first sign?
Well, he started having pains in his back, and about 2 weeks after we got engaged. And basically, we thought we thought he had a kidney infection or something silly like that, and he went to the doctors a couple of times, came to the hospital a couple of times, and there was no other symptoms apart from muscle pain. And it was basically where the tumours, he had 2 tumours, one on his liver, one on his spleen, and they were pushing against organs, and that's why he could feel them. He couldn't sleep for 2 or 3 weeks. He couldn't eat, he couldn't sit down, he couldn't cross his legs. And this was all before they found out what it was.
And what were your thoughts, or can you sort of relate to us anything about the day when you did find out what it was and how it went?
Well, obviously, the day they said it was cancer, Burkitt's lymphoma, you just think to yourself, what am I going to do without him?
I'm sorry to ask about this, but obviously it's painful, but hopefully it's for a good cause. What were those last few weeks like then? What happened after the diagnosis?
Well, he got diagnosed in the March, and then they couldn't really give us exactly any odds or anything because of him being HIV positive and that causing the cancer. So basically, he had to spend 3 months almost in a hospital doing intense chemotherapy. He lost about 3.5 stone, and the last few weeks of his life, he lost the ability to walk and the ability to talk, to go to the toilet himself, to do anything. So basically, he just wasn't David anymore, that I knew anyway, in a weird way. It just completely changed. Physically, it destroyed him. But they had to put him in intensive care for the last week of his life, in the last attempt. So it was, the way he died was controlled. There was nothing they can do. There was nothing more they could do, so we had to turn the life support machine off.
Burkitt's lymphoma itself, is that related to HIV? Is it the cancer that...
Yeah, it can cause, HIV can cause Burkitt's lymphoma. And it's a high probability if he didn't have the HIV, then he wouldn't have got the cancer.
Can you tell us a little bit about whether or not David was tested early or late, or discovered later or earlier, and whether that had any kind of impact?
David got diagnosed in March 2006, and he was put on medication straight away because he got diagnosed late. So he was fine on medication for the short-term period until he started developing the signs that he had cancer.
Do you think people in the gay community are aware of Burkitt's lymphoma and HIV, or is it?
I don't. It's not personally. It's not just a gay community thing. It's a community thing. Straight people, gay people, bi people. Nobody takes safe sex serious anymore, really, and people are naive to the fact that treatment will keep them alive and keep them so-called normal, when clearly it doesn't always work. As David is an example, but it's just not. I don't think it's just a gay thing.
And obviously you've come here. You've been very brave today. That's the major message, is it? What message do you want people to take away from your loss?
Your health is your responsibility, basically, and it's all right thinking, yeah, there's treatments out there for everything now, and it's a treatment, it's not a cure, and it's hard. It's a hard thing. David found it hard to live with. He helped other people live with it by supporting them, and sadly, it took him. It killed him in the end. It's not just a gay thing. It's a straight thing as well. More and more people are getting diagnosed, and you just need to look after yourself. Safe sex, really.
And obviously, this idea of being tested earlier rather than later, what would you say to anybody out there who for any reason?
Just get tested. The sooner you get tested, the more likelihood the medication is of actually going to work and the treatment will work. The longer you leave it, the higher the viral load, the more damage it does to your body, and the more likelihood of serious illnesses, including dying. It's not going to go away if you don't get tested. It will still be there and it will still cause problems. So just get tested and then you can manage it.